Hi, this is Scott Garibay.
And this is Autumn Garibay, his daughter.
And today we're going to talk about Andrew Yang and Rubik's Cubes. All right, today we're going to talk about how Rubik's Cubes relate to Andrew Yang, his run for the U.S. presidency for 2020, and how it will affect how understanding Rubik's Cubes would affect his presidency from 2021 to 2024. And while we talk about that, Autumn and I, Scott, are going to race to solve these cubes starting now. Right. So, Autumn, you have come up with our topics for today. What are our topics?
I sure have. So, I have been doing a lot of Rubik's Cube in the past couple days, and in doing them, I really thought of how they connect to Andrew Yang and the current presidency, even with Trump, in their little taglines, math and MAGA. Rubik's Cubes really illustrate the difference between those two. So something I was almost frustrated with when I started is when you solve a Rubik's Cube, the goal is to get it back to as good as new, to solve all of the 6 faces so that they have the same color, which is exactly how it comes out of the box. So you can almost not tell if you solved it or if you just bought it. And I think sometimes that's how Trump thinks of America, something that's scrambled that makes it has to be made new again, and that is...
Let me jump in there. So actually, I understand exactly what you're saying. You are thinking that that's where a lot of Democrats are thinking, that Trump has scrambled America, and now Democrats need to get America back to its solved state.
Yes,
where the 6 sides are all set.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah. Forgive me, I may have been harping on Trump, but I think this is the position of a lot of people on both sides, and definitely in the Democratic debate. Particularly, Trump has the Make America Great Again, whereas Yang has switched that to be Make America Think Harder. And I think that, again, is demonstrated in Rubik's Cubes as you can get it to its solved state or you can go past that. And that's what I think is really interesting.
So I think that is really fascinating, and I definitely agree with you that the idea that if we bring Andrew Yang into, the idea of bringing Andrew Yang in as our president, we have the possibility of going beyond the solved state. That if we get in with Biden, if we get in with Sanders or Warren, the only hope with them is that they'll get back to those six sides, and that the idea, and literally with Biden, there's this huge subject, right? Yeah. Where he was there in 2016 and he was like, oh no, I had a death in the family, I need to grieve. I'm not going to run for president, I'm going to step out, right? Which seemed incredibly reasonable. But now that, Bernie Sanders is literally running, directly after a heart attack, the idea of anybody stepping out to not run for presidency seems a little more ridiculous, and you're not really taking it seriously. But one of the things that's really amazing is, it's very much with Biden, you have this situation where it's, I want to take us back to the Obama days, where with Andrew Yang, you have this idea of the UBI solution, right? And this has never been implemented at the national level. And the idea of being able to have this economic boost where it's incredible. You have this economic solution that is truly incredible and could allow more artists and allow more people who want to really do some esoteric things, and they don't have a zero bottom salary. It's truly incredible. And I definitely agree with you that Make America Think Harder is those Rubik's Cubes post-solved states. So now with post-solved states, you would solve the cube, and then you would actually apply another algorithm to get it to a pattern that is beyond the solved state. Is that correct?
Yes. Okay. And I hope to be able to show it in a minute here. But that's exactly right. Yeah. it does raise the question of, do we need to go back to that solved state first? And
that's a great point. Yeah,
that's where I think, I'm not sure if it's a perfect analogy. So here, this is a solved state.
Wow. Go ahead.
So what I'm talking about with Andrew Yang is not only does he want to make America good as new, but you can do some cool things after. I think this is my favorite one. It's quick, and you can make it look like a checkerboard.
Yeah, exactly. So you went to the solved state and then went beyond it, and that's one of the things we're hoping for with, and so Autumn solved this. She's going on to her second solve. I'm still on my first solve, right? Yeah. But that is the point of this, is that Andrew Yang gives us that ability not to just to restore America to the post-Trump, to the pre-Trump norm, but to actually make us better. And I totally agree with you that is a really powerful. It's a powerful end state, or actually a next step. It's certainly not an end state for America, but it's a powerful next step. So let's talk about that, though. Do you think that when Andrew Yang gets into the presidency, that we will need to get everybody back to, that we will need to get America to the solved state, that all 6 sides will need to be full state before we go to a post-solved state pattern? What do you think?
No, I don't. Because I think that it's a bit of a myth that America ever was at this perfect, all 6 sides are the same. I think that's an ideal a lot of people are clinging to, rather than
and we were never there.
Looking at where we were, where we are, and seeing the beauty in that, even if it's not what we expected it to be.
That's interesting. Yeah, I see. Now, here's another question. A lot of people have started to talk about this, and I'm curious of your opinion. What do you think that Andrew Yang has Trump pulled stickers off the cube and put them in different positions? A lot of people are saying that what Trump has been doing over the last 4 years is politics in a way that has never been done. And in the Rubik's Cube world, this would be the equivalent of, a buddy of mine just talked about this, where some kids were, some of his, specifically some of his like younger siblings were given a gift of a Rubik's Cube, and then they removed some of the stickers and pulled them off, and he's like, we don't know if that thing can ever be solved because we don't even know where the stickers are. So do you think Trump has removed stickers and put them in different positions?
That's a great question, and we can say yes. I think that might be a good analogy for what Trump has done. I don't think that it means that getting it to any kind of solved state is hopeless, though. I am a mathematician, and I've heard a lot of talks about Rubik's Cubes because the combinations are endless, and it's just it's a really great place for
math problems.
Problems. And one of those was if you changed the stickers or broke a Rubik's Cube apart and tried to put it together again. How many of those states can be solved? How many can't? The answer turned out to be about 1/3. So there are things that are unsolvable. But even if you try to screw things up and paint over stickers, it's not hopeless. You could put those back. And I think that's what a lot of people will think Yang will need to do, just really pull out some things in the system and try to put them back again. But I do think that if Yang went forward as a normal
just trying to
politician,
just trying to solve the cube, I think he would find. So my take is, I don't think that Donald Trump has removed stickers at this point. I actually don't think that Donald Trump has really broken any major laws. And one of the issues that I think we've really run into in politics is this idea of shenanigans, which is we've already said in America on both the red and the blue side that we can ignore laws we don't like. And both parties are guilty of it, and we really haven't solved the solution of this. All right, so I think we've discussed that topic. Let's go to our second topic, which do you want to open that up, or you want me to introduce that?
Go ahead and introduce
All right,
that.
So I think the second one is private versus public solves.
Yes.
So both me and Autumn are cubers. We have both had private solves. So we've solved Rubik's Cubes privately, right? Autumn has a public solve, right, where she solved a Rubik's Cube in less than 3 minutes and put it onto her her YouTube channel, right? And so how we thought about this, that this relates to what Andrew Yang has been talking about, is salary, right? Mm-hmm. So UBI will be the first time that a portion of American salary will be public.
Yes.
So there's been a tradition for a long time that American salary was private, right? And what do you think has been one of the problems with private salary?
There are lots.
Hit it. All right, so Autumn has solved her second cube, right? And at this point, we only own 3 cubes. So at this point, Autumn will be... Go ahead. So I solved 0. Autumn's moving on to her third.
But you did solve the first layer, and that is important. Thank you for that.
And actually, it's okay that she's going to move on to her third. I started us in cubing and taught her.
He taught me, so he gets credit for this as well.
and you can please witness that I can solve a cube, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Indeed. Absolutely. I have seen.
All right. So what? So I'll jump into this. So one of the things that we've been talking about with private salary is there has been a tradition in America where women have made a lot less salary.
I think it's a large part of the pay gap.
Why?
Between
Yeah.
men and
Why
women.
there is a pay gap? Exactly. So one of the reasons why there has been this pay gap issue is because women's salary was private, right? And so one of the things that Andrew Yang is going to be bringing forward is the Freedom Dividend. That'll give every single American $1,000 a month, and for the first time ever, it's going to drop in a public portion of salary. So everybody will know that no one is at 0. Everyone is at $12,000 a year, every adult American. Do you think that will help reduce the pay gap between men and women? What's your thought?
I wouldn't go that far. I just think that it's a nice practical change to say I want to go have like coffee or dinner with a friend. I can, hey, you want to go, without worrying if they have enough food to eat, who's buying. As for the larger ramifications of it, I hope it does help with the pay gap. But again, to bring this around to Rubik's Cube, we did the same thing with yo-yo. It's a fun hobby. You can just buy a cube or yo-yo, pick it up, do it in your room, get good at it. However, it's very impressive when shown to other people.
True.
So there are clubs around it. There, again, YouTube channels. And it's something traditionally private that we've made public. And Yang is doing the same thing with selling in a small part. You still don't know everyone's salary, and there will, I do still think that men will be making less than,
that
women will be making less than men on a macro level, but they'll be making $1,000 more than they were, and especially for women who were doing unpaid labor, like a lot of mothering, that's a huge deal. Yeah.
Well, and I think one of the things that's interesting is, so one of the things Andrew Yang is going to be introducing is this idea of sum of salary becoming public. That may encourage some organizations to say all of our salaries are public. When that happens, if there are, 4 organizations that have rock star women who have super high salaries, that may serve as an example for other women, encourage them to kind of boost their performance and allow them to have an example of, this is where I want to head. So there's a possibility of that. The other thing that becomes very obvious to me is that there's going to need to be this idea of where do we land as far as do we need to pursue policy? Do we need to pursue policy and taxes from Andrew Yang within his administration to get there overall, to get to the point where he overall has the ability to encourage companies to allow for public salary for all Americans, which I think would be really interesting to drop that into the public conversation. So that's two of our topics. We're going to shoot over to one more, which you had shared with me that one of the reasons. So you picked up cubing a lot faster than I did,
yes.
And one of the reasons for that was because of knitting and yo-yo.
Yeah.
And
so I have a lot of other hobbies. Again, he introduced me to yo-yo as well, but I picked up knitting on my own, and it has significantly helped. They are hobbies that also deal with muscle memory and finger dexterity. So this helped. I didn't think they would help with Rubik's Cube, but they did. And I think Yang will find something similar when he gets into the presidency. And I used to think that he might be unqualified for that because he doesn't have as much of a political background as his other opponents. However, he does have a business background, and he's a child of immigrants, and he has a lot of other stuff he's drawing on that the other candidates do not.
Now, I think one of the things that I'm excited about is the fact that he doesn't have that those political skills, those overall political skills. I think is really interesting because he didn't spend decades getting those political skills, which were gathered in the swamp. And those really are swamp skills. Those are crocodile skills. Those are, hey, how do I go under the murky depth and find some type of small creature and drag it to the bottom and make sure it can't breathe and then eat it. Like, he didn't spend years and years mastering that skill the way Elizabeth Warren did, the way Biden did, the way Sanders did, like all those type of alligators, those crocodile skills. And what that means is that, you're right, he mastered double Ivy League. He had more time to spend with his Ivy League education. He had more time to spend with his he specifically had more time to spend with his Manhattan Prep, which was his CEO work. He had more time to spend with Venture America, which was his benevolence work. And I think one of the things that's going to happen there is, especially the benevolence work, is he has this charity skill set that we have never seen dropped into a presidency before. And I think once we get Andrew Yang in there, having that skill set able to drop in and really ratchet down and do the things that need to be done is going to be very, very interesting and really unique and special and valuable. And I'm very excited to see what that looks like. I also really do think, it is really fascinating the way that knitting and yo-yo and muscle memory mapped into cubing for you overall. And so at this point, we have talked about 3 topics, and with that, we have three Rubik's cube solves, and yes, exactly, and even one post-cube state. So that is one solved, and even beyond,
I'll bring us back to solved,
and one solved as well. And so that is 3 solved Rubik's cubes and 3 political topics discussed, all directly connected to Andrew Yang. We are incredibly excited about Andrew Yang, and we really believe the other thing that we didn't even touch is also many cubers solve these through manual methods, and also some use algorithms, which is an entire other topic. But there's a lot that relates to cubing and to Andrew Yang. We're very excited to share this with you today. Thank you very much for letting us share this with you. Also, if you noticed, half my face was cut off today. That was on purpose. If you missed half my face, you only have about 1,000 other videos to watch to get the rest of it. Thanks again for letting us share this with you. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.